Welcome everyone to the frequency upgrade number 2. My name is Rene and you're watching Holistic Life Transformation. And today we talk about the difference between being alone and feeling lonely. And many of us, we are seeing both of them being the same, and we think that when we are alone we are very lonely, we are disconnected, we feel kind of small, meaningless, unimportant, missing something. And but I'm going to show you that actually they're quite different. So being alone and being lonely are quite different, and one can be a source of an upgraded frequency. That's what we are here, to upgrade our frequency. And the other one is actually draining our frequency, draining our energy. And it's actually something we run away from. And as you might guess, being alone itself is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a status, a description of your current situation. And loneliness, or being lonely, is actually the attached feeling to that. And this feeling of loneliness has actually nothing to do with being alone or not. So you can feel lonely being at home alone, in your room, in a hotel room, and somewhere where you don't meet anyone. But you can also feel very lonely, and sometimes even more lonely than when you're alone. You can feel more lonely when you're in a crowded place, when you see people laughing, when you see people having fun, when you see people being together, and you're not. You're just in a big crowd, at a restaurant, at a cafe, at a shopping mall, in a park, and anywhere where people are, at a beach, can even be a very nice place, and yet you feel very lonely, disconnected. You feel like everybody is having fun, enjoying themselves, and you're just not part of them. You're not part of the group. You can be with your friends, with your people you used to hang out with, colleagues, and yet you feel this distance, I could call it, or like you want to be part of them, you want to be part of the group, you want that connection, but you cannot quite get there. You feel like not really into it. Might be that the topics they talk about are not, you don't really, they are not your topics, they are not your thing. And or it might be that you just try to fit in a group, you try to adapt yourself to other people, and this makes you even feel more disconnected. And when you are then coming back to a place where nobody else is, and you have still this inner, this disconnectedness to yourself, you feel even more lonely, because all you try to do is getting that connection to other people, to these situations where other people are and they enjoy them, and you are not being yourself going back home, or to a place where you are alone, you feel even worse because you're not in alignment with your inner self, with your core frequency. And many people, more than you might assume, actually feel that way. They feel this inner emptiness, this inner sadness, and they feel meaningless, maybe, depressed, sad, unhappy, and they relate this feeling to being alone. And actually, what you feel is not a disconnection to the people around you, to the world around you. It's a disconnection to yourself. Feeling lonely has nothing to do with being alone, but it has something to do with not being one with yourself. So lonely, you could say lonely, is losing oneness. You are not one with yourself. And upgrading your frequency is actually, if you are on your journey towards more happiness, peace, and alignment with who you are, you will very quickly come to the conclusion that it's a path of introspection. You cannot align with yourself if you are not comfortable with being around yourself. And if you're not comfortable with being around other people, or you seek it as a distraction to not face your own self, you run away from your own self, of facing your own self. And you do this by seeking these distractions, by going out and trying to connect, but this inner emptiness will never go away, no matter what you do and how many activities you engage, how many fun activities. It's all just a distraction if you cannot sit by yourself with no one around in a quiet, empty room. It can even be dark. If you are unable to do that, it is because you're not tapping into your own frequency and your own connectedness to yourself. And I felt this way myself as well. I'm traveling a lot and I'm living far from my home. I don't see my family that often, and when I see them, I'm basically not feeling that connected. I enjoy seeing them, but I feel like I cannot truly share who I am, what I feel, and it's just there's no this feeling of connectedness, and it is sometimes quite painful to feel that disconnection, and also feeling disconnected when you go to new places. I travel a lot, I see new places. It sounds like fun, but you're always coming to a new environment. You don't know anybody, and they don't know you, and you're always kind of a stranger. But the real reason why I actually felt that way, or feeling that way by being in a hotel room all on my own, nobody to talk to, nothing really to do, and you just feel like crazy, huh? You feel like the walls coming closer, you feel the silence is just screaming at you. and you want to scream back and you don't know what to do. And the way to overcome this is to learn to embrace this feeling, to embrace being alone. And it doesn't mean that you always have to be alone, that you never should connect with everybody. We are social beings. We want to connect. We want to get out. We want to be around other people. We want to share our experiences and having fun. And it's all good. But if you cannot connect to yourself, to who you are, to be in alignment with your just being you, just being around you, the most important person in your life is you. The person you spend the most time with is you. The person that you have the most influence on. The person that you should care, really care to make happy, to make healthy, to grow, to expand is you. And the only way to understand how to do that is being around you and being around you and being at ease, being at peace, being in without expectation, being okay with it, being okay with who you are, being okay with the situation you're in right now, appreciating yourself, loving yourself, and to realize that how much power you have inside of you, and to tap into that power is only possible when you are alone, and especially when you start out, when you first silence all the distraction, when you silence all the noise and just embrace this silence, this loneliness, which turns into a feeling of empowerment, of connectedness. Loneliness and feeling connected are essentially two poles, two aspects of one and the same thing. And they are just on a different end of the spectrum, but there's no end. You can feel lonelier, and you can feel more and more connected. And they're basically one and the same thing. And once you embrace this loneliness, this feeling of being alone, and only then you can actually feel the connectedness to yourself. And once you do that, you can back to the other people. You can go back to really connect, because what you see around yourself is always a mirror, a reflection of what's inside of you. As within, so without, and as without, so within. This is the principle of correspondence. And if you really sit and you're alone, and I'm going to show you how to do that, you can actually tap into who you really are, into what you really are, which is an infinite being. You are light, you are love, you are energy, your vibration, and you have a certain frequency. And by acknowledging yourself, you will feel so much power, so much drive, and you feel drive to connect with other people, not because you lack this feeling of self, of true self inside of you, and you seek appreciation and acceptance and some sort of reflection and respect and love by other people, you are in need. You are in need to find this feeling by meeting other people who give you this appreciation. But if you tap into your own being, you don't need this appreciation, but you will get it even more, because as within, so without. And if you already feel connected to yourself, you feel a much deeper connection to the people around you. You see them as human beings, you see them as energy like you are, you see them having the same issues, the same problems, and you can much more relate to them because you can relate to yourself. You know this feeling that they felt, but now you see it from another perspective. And so how can you embrace this loneliness? What is this being alone without feeling loneliness? So one way to do it is to actually be alone. Find a space and a time. Make it 1 hour, 1 hour of me time in a week, or if you can, every day, and or even a full day, 24 hours. Make it 24 hours if you can, only you. But you can start also with 1 hour. So 1 hour you time. This means no distraction, so no series watching on Netflix, no Facebook, no news, no interaction with people you know. And so what could it be? What could it look like to have an hour of me time, an hour of being alone? You could take a walk with no phones. You are not available. You are on your own. You could meditate. You can go out, watch the sky, being at night, rainy day, or during the daylight. Just sit and close your eyes, breathe, and just feel this inner self. Breathe, close your eyes, and don't move, and just be present. And don't allow your thoughts to come, let them come to you and then let them go. Don't attach to them. And when you feel yourself getting distracted by them, return to your breath. And do this for as long as you like. For 1 hour, for 5 minutes, for 1 minute. But whatever you're going to do in this 1 hour, make it your time. Make it, write in your journal. Write down what you want to know, what you're afraid about, what your desires, your ambitions, your dreams. And soon you will realize that being alone can actually be something you look forward to, something you draw new energy, you refresh, you rejuvenate, you get new ideas, you get creative, and you find a new sense of meaning, of connectedness, of purpose. And all of this will ultimately upgrade your frequency. You feel better. And when you go back to other people, you can actually relate much more to them, share their experience, appreciate them, and communicate on a whole new level. Because even we are around people, we often have just shallow talking, small talk. We are around people, but we are not connected. We are not feeling connected. Seeing this all around you, this superficial experiences, shallowness. It's not, there's no real connection. And there's no real connection because people don't feel connected to themselves. And if you cannot feel connected to yourself, you cannot feel connected to others. And the only way to overcome this loneliness, which is not related to being alone, but just by related to not feeling connected to yourself, to overcome this, you have to embrace who you are and just give it a try. There's nothing to be afraid of. And let me know what you think about this. Share it in the comments. Feedback is welcome. So your challenge for this frequency upgrade is find 1 hour of being alone. And if you feel lonely at the beginning, it's fine. But try to ask yourself, who is it that actually feels lonely? Who is talking to you? Is it your mind telling you you should do something? You should call someone, you should write a message to someone, you should be around other people, or is it, or can you actually feel this inner presence that's always there? And when you practice this, you will also notice this presence when you reconnect, and this presence, this inner presence of your true self, gives you actually a whole new confidence level, a new spirit, a new aliveness. And feeling this aliveness changes everything. If you can be aware of your inner true self. And yes, with this, I hope you try it out. Let me know what you think about it. And next time we are talking about something you should not do in order to upgrade your frequency. And so have a nice day, have a nice week, and see you next time. Thanks for watching. And if you like it, let me know, and see you next time. Bye bye.